I'd like to call the meeting of the Finance Committee to order. Tonight's meeting is to approve our budget report, then goes to the clerk, gets issued to the public, and then we have a public hearing next Tuesday. Just got a couple of comments before we get rolling here. This is like the first time in 50-year history of the county legislature that we've had a professional budget expert examine and analyze the county executive's budget proposal. This committee has held 7 hearings, some of them with other standing committees, like Health Committee and Elder Care, so that we would have the benefit of their knowledge about the agency, which is in their normal purview and jurisdiction, to help guide us in our discussions. We also had a special hearing just on the needs of our nursing home, so we could delve deeper than ever we have historically. We had Director Saki came in, and we had about an hour and a half meeting, all of which is on tape, by the way. 2018 is proving to be a banner year. The sales tax revenues are probably going to be up at the end of the year by over $4 million. The safety net costs that we budgeted are going to, we just found out today, are going to be, and last night, going to be $2 million less than we budgeted. We've got $900,000 a month roughly coming in for the Sheriff's Humane Detainee Program. And we're going to be having a large surplus this in 2018, which is going to be able to be put toward the rainy day fund, which, you know, technically we call the undesignated, unappropriated fund balance. So that's the plate that we're starting from for 2019. We're in good shape fiscally. And then one more thing I'd like to do is I'd like to thank Tim Nietzsche for all of his work on the budget so far this year. So now we got to turn to our sheets here, and what we'll be doing is going down through each of these sections by agency. I'll ask a member to, I'll ask a motion to pass it or approve it as we have it here, and then we'll need a second, and then we'll have a vote. Some of these we might be able to group from over here. I will note that there's one by agency. Or we'll have, I haven't looked through this. There's another reduction in here that we had shared with the county executive the other night for utility costs, which based on the response we received, the rate increases that we're expecting are not going to be at 6%, which we were budgeting at for half a year, but only 2%. So we will increase that, but it's not on these sheets here because we have an accounting issue trying to record that in the proper way. So that will happen before and we approved at our Audit and Finance Committee meeting at the end of the month. So, starting with the county executive budget, I have a motion to approve the county executive budget. Second by Mr. Willingham. All those in favor? Aye. Unanimous. I have a motion to approve the controller's budget.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Higgins, seconded by Mr. Bergdorf. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. County clerk, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Without changes. Motion, Wanda Willingham, seconded by Chris Higgins. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. District attorney, passed without change. Do I have a motion? Mr. Clay?
Just clarification,
Mr.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this is the budget that was presented to us from the executive budget, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So where are we? We have motion, second by Mr. Grimm. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Now we'll go to the sheriff, the other last elected official here. We have a motion to approve the sheriff's department requests,
Mr.
salary
Chairman?
adjustments.
Mr. Chairman, can we take these,
Yes, Mr. Mendig.
can we take these line item? Robert?
Sorry, I didn't have all of you introduce yourselves tonight. I think by now people know who you are, but so I'll call out your name so people know who you are.
Okay.
Mr. Mendig.
The request is that we look at at least the first line item, the $170,000 for special programs, separately from the other adjustments.
You want to vote on that separately? Is that what you're
Yes.
saying? Okay, so that is, goes with an adjustment on, so we have spending increase and we have an offsetting revenue increase, so it's zero net
Oh,
change
okay,
to the
so,
budget.
so that's shown somewhere
On the last page.
on the
Yeah,
last page.
that's because, unlike what we've been working with before, we're now starting to get into the accounting system here. So you'll see that thank you, Chris. There's
So that's off,
yeah.
that's offset by the jail's facilities of $1,130,000.
Yes, it is included in there. Yes, it is included in there. It got rolled up in there.
What is that number, Charlie?
170, was it?
The jail facilities.
Yeah, 170.
Oh, well, that-
1.13.
That includes the, yeah, okay. Yeah, so the 170 is in there as our other things, and we'll get to that when we talk about another item. Wanda, Willingham?
So the 170 is in the,
It's offset. There was a change that the sheriff requested since the budget was submitted to us, that he's proposing without any additional cost. It nets out to zero change.
is this the immigration?
That's the
defense?
funding probably that's being used, the detainee funding.
So if it were not to pass, that money would go back to the county general fund, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So, how do you want to do this? Do you want to still go back to doing the entire sheriff's budget, or do you want to vote on that? We have to sort of vote on two things in order to get to the net of zero. So with the understanding of the revenues are supporting it in the back up here, are you okay? Do I have a motion to approve the sheriff's budget?
So moved.
Mr. Clay?
Wait a second, are we doing it as a whole, or are we voting?
I'd like to see them as separate items.
I would too.
I would too.
So if we could vote on the line item 4049, special programs separately, and then group the others, that would be agreeable.
That's fine. Do I have a motion to approve the special programs departmental request from the sheriff, which is offset by revenue? Mr. Higgins? Second by Mr. Joyce. All those in favor? Opposed?
Nay.
Note three no votes.
Can you please hold your, so it's Mendick,
Mendick,
Bergdorf, and Grimm.
Mr. Grimm, the deputy chair of the Audit and Finance Committee. Do I have a motion for the remainder of the sheriff's? Mr. Bergdorf, thank you. Mr. Grimm, thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, so the remainder of that is unanimous, except for 4049, which had 3 no votes. Now we're moving to probation, I believe, yes. I have a motion to pass probation without changes, which means there were 2 vacancies that were funded that we had originally proposed. We have taking, and we now have new information, and so that's no longer on the table. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Okay, Mr. Mendick, seconded by Ms. Willingham. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. Public defender, do I have a motion to pass without change? Again, any jobs there are restored. Ms. Willingham, seconded by Mr. Grimm. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Alternate public defender, pass without change. Motion? Motion, Mr. Clay, second.
Second.
Ms. Willingham, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. County attorney, motion to pass without change from the county executive's budget.
Motion.
Mr. Higgins. Second, Mr. Joyce. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Management and budget.
Mr. Chairman?
I'm sorry, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
amending- Yeah,
Can we defer the vote on this until we vote on the sales tax?
thank you very much. That's, we're just trying to make it easier. Again, this is sort of the arcaneness of the accounting process.
I understand.
What it is part of the increase that we're recommending on the sales tax that would go to our municipalities under the 60/40 sales tax split.
So
Okay,
just,
but revenues, we're dealing at the back, on the back sheet, okay?
okay, so we're gonna come back to this?
We're gonna come back to this, and please, let's make sure we do. Social services. Do I have a motion?
We got a question.
Question?
We have questions about the tax.
Executive departmental request, okay.
Well,
Yes, question, Mr. Joyce.
so we're decreasing, I thought you said in the beginning of the meeting, we're going to decrease electric and natural
This
gas
is by,
lines
this is a departmental request, this is aside from that, we're gonna be, in action, we're gonna be taking over.
aside or in addition to the total decrease to all electric and natural gas line items, because then we put them below the rate increase.
This is what they requested.
Okay, so we are,
So we will be separately
Okay.
looking at this, okay, for the next final.
got it.
So we're doing
Yes.
this line by
I propose that we do it all, but if you have a question about a specific item that we can then address,
line? We're on social services?
yes, we are.
So, does that include this $2 million for safety net?
Yes, it does. That's based on the number that the commissioner gave us last night.
That the commissioner?
Right,
Okay,
a letter from the commissioner, we took the commissioner's number. They're running a $2 million surplus this year. The county executive proposed just under 13 million, I believe it is. And her numbers, $11 million. State control is also saying caseload change is going to be zero, possibly negative.
so,
So this is their number. We did not, we took away our number and are using what the commissioner gave us last night.
last night after,
The letter that we received for all the.
so this came from county
This
executive.
came from the commissioner.
Is this, may I? I'm not in a committee. Last night, we were talking about a number of 1 point,
Mr. Ward, yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry,
I don't have that conversation.
pardon?
Were you questioning on the item? Safety net item?
Yes.
Okay.
The number that I was aware of was 1.26 million. And now I see a number of,
Yes, based on
Two
the said
point-
commissioner's response.
right, and I'm just, is that the letter that was given last night?
Yes,
Where's the letter at?
I'm reading it, and it says, "We projected a 1.265303 reduction," which is a number that we were talking about before, to the 2019 proposed budget of $12,961,54 for safety net would leave us at least $500,000 short at 2019 year end.
So how
Later on
does-
in that,
Mr.
later on
Reed, you to speak to
in
this.
in that letter from the commissioner, she talked about a scenario for the current year where it would be roughly $11 million. In the current year, we have budgeted $13.1 million. And so that's where you get that differential of about $2.1 million. You add the forecast of single safety net caseload that both OSC and DOE.
Office of State Controller,
Office
the
of State
State
Controller
Division of
Division of
Budget.
Budget have forecasted for that program statewide to say it's basically going to be zero. So we're applying that differential based in part on the commissioner's response last night to what is budgeted, and that's how you get at that roughly 2.1 million. Now, you're going to see later, down in the revenue part, that some of, we don't pay 100%.
Right,
We pay a
understood.
portion, and that is a reduction in the revenue that we were going to receive as well. So when you net it all out, it's about the 1.3 or so that you're talking about.
Okay, because I'm reading, do you mind if I read the rest?
Please.
What letter is that? Is that letter from
We weren't there.
Can we get copies or is this something distributed to all the members?
It's something that came
from the county.
I don't know the origin, but I have it in my hand.
It was delivered to our minority leader late today. It was delivered to our minority
All right,
leader
Mr.
late
Ward, would you
today.
please read the... Thank you.
Yeah.
It states, we are projecting that the lowest safety net expenditures possible for 2018 are $11,052,009. However, this projection does not account for any unusual or unexpected influx of need, including sheltering homeless individuals during Code Blue. And so I understand where you got that number from, but I believe that the commissioner was emphasizing that that would be the lowest possible. Now, what my concern about this issue, and I was comfortable with your numbers last night, and believe me, I have a lot of respect for the work that this committee has done and the staff. And I was comfortable with a number last night, but what I'm concerned about is that we've been burned before by these kind of numbers. And Albany County,
What do you mean by that? We've been burned by these kinds of...
we've been burned by making large, this is a mandated program.
Yeah, okay,
of which
so-
Albany County is mandated to pay 71% of this program, and that's the number I heard last night. And if this is relative to sales tax, where if you underestimate, this could cause a huge hole in our budget.
So what I prefaced the meeting with is our rainy day fund, our undesignated, unappropriated fund balance is flush. It's huge, okay?
Yep.
And so we have plenty of money, there's plenty of other money in the agency to pay for this. We're also using the state controllers and state division of budgets numbers, okay? We're also...
Statewide numbers, not Albany County.
We also, and also statewide, unemployment is now at the lowest it's ever been. We have $2 million surplus
Correct.
in this very program this year with 46 days left, okay? So we're actually think that we're being very generous on this, on what is needed. And we certainly don't want to under budget it.
And Mr. Dawson, last night when we talked about $1.2 million, I was comfortable with that, but now we're adding almost another million to that. And now we're starting to get to the uncomfortable stage.
So,
Because that's another percentage on our tax rate if we come up short, or if we have to expend more.
Or the other way around.
The other way around, we have to expend more.
So if you're collecting more from the taxpayers than you need, then you're also, you know,
Taking more than you need.
taking more than you need.
But you state that we have a surplus,
So,
and that's fine, but that's an unstructured, that's not a balanced budget. That's making it might be, I'm not saying it's a false projection,
we don't think...
but it's not a careful
We'll
projection.
vote on it, we'll have other opportunities to discuss it later.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
but,
Wait, what do you mean we're gonna have other opportunities? You want us to vote?
yeah, we have
on it?
another, we have an audit finance committee meeting at the end of November. This budget is still a work in progress. These are numbers may or may not be final. As I said last night, we keep getting more and more information, and we're open to it. So I think, you know, Sean's making a very valid case. It's just, we disagree. So,
Well, I'd like to just emphasize, I don't know enough to know what is the right number, but I am personally willing to support this going out, and I hope there would be a continued dialogue to make sure we get to the right number by people who can really sit down and go through the methodology. And I think in my discussions with the chairman, he was saying this is still a continual process,
Yeah, no, I understand.
and I'm
yeah,
some
it
degree
changed-
comforted by
It changed
that.
last night after we got more information from the commissioner, who has now told us we have a $2 million surplus we didn't know about.
Well,
So,
have you talked to the commissioner personally, or just going by this letter?
so can I just add
Sure.
some factual information?
Okay,
Through November 15th of this year, we spent under $8 million in this program.
okay.
So that's over 300 and roughly 20 days, we've spent $8 million. With 46 days left, we would have to spend $5 million to get to the budgeted number, and $3 million to get to what she calls the best case number. So we obviously incorporated the new information we got from the commissioner into our thinking. Went back and got even more information when we originally put the number out. We only had through the end of October. Now we have even more information. There's no indication from the 2017 spending that there's the kind of seasonality here where a $2 or $3 million figure is going to hit on December 31st. There's no evidence of that. So
Have we trended the last 2 months of any given year? Because safety net involves, heating bills, furnaces that break
ties
down.
back to the economy, which is why the state controller has said unemployment is historically low, so that's why we're running a surplus in this program by even bigger than 2 million probably. And we're going into 2019 flush. So it's, I feel, very secure on this. Ms. Willingham.
Thank you very much. I am very uncomfortable with this for the simple reason that what these fees for services, what they are applied to, and what we seen last night, as opposed to what we're looking at now. Your statement in regards to, go ahead and vote in favor of this, and we'll.
No, or vote against it, whatever.
Please, Charlie. You want to vote in favor of this, and then we'll fix it later. Then why can't we leave it the way it is? And then, I would feel more, why not? Why can't we leave it as it was?
We don't think it needs to be fixed. What I said was we're willing to hear more information. Oh, right until the very end. We got more information last night than we had before. After we, talked to everybody last night, we got more information. So, Mr. Mendick,
Motion?
second by Mr. Grimm. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ms. Willingham in the negative. Yeah, that's social services. Now, nursing homes. Do I have a motion to approve all the union settlements and legislative adjustments?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Mendick? Second by Mr. Higgins, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That is with no filled funded position cuts. No jobs are on the line here.
Go,
Okay, next, Health Department, motion to pass without change. Mr. Higgins, second by Mr. Joyce.
Mr. Chairman, you have a question on the previous issue from
Oh, motion on the floor. Motion on, all those in favor?
Wait a minute.
wait.
Where we at?
Mr. Chairman, you have a question from a member of the legislature.
We have a motion, wait. No, Health Department. All those in favor?
aye.
Opposed? All right, without question. Unanimous.
Did we vote on the nursing home?
Yes.
Did we
Mr.
vote-
Miller,
I have a question on the nursing home. You
Can
said,
I, wait a minute.
Ms. Willingham?
Okay, so let me just ask this question. You said we voted on the nursing home. I heard you say the union settlement. So did
What
we,
it says here, yeah, 1199 union settlement.
okay, and so the.
So those are all changes to increase salaries. Okay, that's pursuant to the collective bargaining agreement.
Okay, so this, the bottom half, we
Support.
gotta come to where? I just wanna know. Did we-
Yes, the whole thing.
The whole thing?
First part and the second part.
So the legislative adjustments to all of the positions, is that what we voted on?
Yes,
Well,
Did we take
I
everybody in?
I am not in favor
Ms. Willingham in the
of all
negative.
of these, wait a minute. Charlie, please. First we said we were gonna go line by line. When he asked for it line by line, you said, okay.
I said,
Okay.
or we group it by agency, or if we needed to, we would go line by line.
Okay,
That's what I
well,
said.
I am thoroughly opposed to
Okay.
getting rid of all of these positions
We're not
at
getting
the
rid of
nursing
these
home.
positions.
It says decrease.
The position,
that mean?
There's no
last
humans
year,
in them.
last
It
year,
says-
the positions were in the budget with $0 or $1. This year,
I'm
they're
gonna say
fully
this
funded.
again. I'm gonna say this again. Are you counting the votes and which way we voted? Then I voted against, the nursing home piece
All the-
right here.
all the
I
changes?
would prefer to do it where it starts with the legislative adjustments, starting with the head nurse, going down to whatever else is in here in regards to removing the positions out there.
Ms. Willingham, you're speaking only to the removal of the positions that
Yes.
you're opposed to, okay.
Yes.
Okay?
Are the removal of positions that are filled or not filled?
They're vacant.
They're vacant, and because of the
Okay.
construction, because of the
I wanted
census,
to-
they're
thank you.
not going to be filled. And according to the nursing home director on tape at our meeting where we explored this at length. Mr. Miller,
I have a question about the overtime and the temp services that they're funding. My understanding,
we're already done with social services.
no, I'm talking about nursing homes.
Yeah, we're already.
Well, I
done.
tried to ask the question
We're already
before,
done with
you
nursing
didn't-
homes.
You didn't recognize me, so
I'm
the
sorry,
question
we
is,
voted
where are you
on it.
funding the overtime from?
I didn't
If you
vote.
take rid of all these
You voted no.
positions?
No, I did now, but I can understand what he's saying.
Where are
Charles,
you
why don't
getting the
give
money
us
for
a
the
chance to
overtime?
vote?
We did vote.
We did.
Not with a clear understanding of what we're voting for.
Well,
You specifically said union seven.
He doesn't give a crap, he doesn't care.
yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, what are the votes?
What
What are the votes?
Where is
What are
that
the
being
votes?
funded? My understanding is that's being funded by these vacant positions.
I'm sorry?
My understanding is that the overtime and the temp services are being funded by these positions that you're eliminating out of the budget.
What line are you referring to, Paul?
There's no line that exists for the extra overtime and temp service.
But that's where he's getting it from, that's my understanding. If I'm incorrect in that, that's what I'm asking.
Way beyond what is needed for that.
Okay.
So, the,
Mr. Chairman?
okay, what are we on, which one are we on now? Mental health?
Yes, mental health. Top of page 7.
Okay, so do we need clarification on who voted which way on the nursing home?
Yes.
So I gather that Ms. Willingham voted in the negative on the second part of where we do the decreases?
Did you have two separate votes, Charlie?
So that'll
You only
be
had
two separate
one-
votes,
right,
then
you only had
we'll
one
break it
motion.
now into two separate votes.
Okay.
So,
No, I
need
understand what they're doing.
motion to reopen the vote that we took. Mr. Grimm, second, Mr. Bergdorf, all those in favor? Unanimous, we're reopening the vote. We're now gonna do the first part of social services down to the decreases,
Are we talking about nursing home, not social services?
nursing home.
Thank you.
All right, all those in favor of the.
I'm sorry, Charlie, just one more clarification. We're going down to which line that we're voting on now? These are all just the union
Before any
settlements?
before any decreases,
Mr. Chairman,
before any decreases.
Before any decrease, thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
All the union settlements,
Charlie, you have
Yes.
someone down here.
yes.
on the nursing home vacancies, I know that you've referenced the commissioner coming into the meeting here, the director. Pardon? You referenced the director coming in and testifying. I also see a letter from the director stating that he needs some of those positions back. And I also hear from some of the union members periodically, very frequently, telling me that they're understaffed up there now.
That's
So,
why we also
I
had a
would-
special
before-
hearing on workforce issues to try to address turnover and attrition. And we asked Larry, is there anything that we can do to help?
Correct, I was here,
Right.
and I heard it.
Yeah.
But, I asked the committee to take a hard look before we eliminate 42 positions and make sure that we're providing the care, necessary care for the individuals in that nursing home.
I can respond to that
Because-
because there's no patience there for those people to be hired, okay? Those additional, our census now is at around 200.
I know that, I heard it.
So, and these are the same positions that were there last year that we approved. We're not doing anything, the positions are still there, but there was $0 and $1 against them last year. Now they're fully funded and nothing has changed.
With all due respect, Mr. Chairman, I don't know the nursing home nuts and bolts business, the operation. but I do know, I have a lot of respect for the people that run that nursing home, and I'm hearing from them that we should take a hard look before we cut 42 positions just because they look like they're vacant. We heard, or we see a letter from the director last night stating that he needs some of those positions back. And I think we should at least take a hard look at it before we eliminate it. That's all I ask.
Thank you.
I'm not saying don't eliminate them, I'm saying I think we ought to take a little hard look because
have a motion
maybe
to-
it was taken out of context what he said in the meeting.
Wait a minute, we're not eliminating positions, we're
We're
just.
not eliminating any positions.
Taking the money out.
You're deleting the money out of the budget for positions that they may need.
That have been left unfilled for over a year?
Well, I don't know if it was for a year or not, they're vacant now. But I'm looking, I saw the letter from last night, I believe everybody got it, that states that he gave some explanations as to why they aren't filled in some cases, and he also mentioned that some are to be filled. So, and that's all I'm asking, is we take a look at it
Right now, the
before we-
census is around 200, and we're only taking positions as far as the funding above 225 to 250, which is not going to happen.
And
in
Mr.
2019.
Chairman, I've never run a nursing home, I don't know what their staffing needs are, but I
Well,
have,
that's why we had the nursing
I have
home
faith
director
in the
come in and tell
professionals
us,
that do
Mr.
run it.
Ward, tell us what his staffing needs were, and so we took him his word and what he said.
Well, he's telling you to
And we've also-
reconsider,
we've
that's all
also
I'm
said-
Of
asking.
course, now it's another one.
We're also willing to talk further. So we said to the county executive, yes, Mr.
Yeah,
Fuller.
the census is 200. It hasn't changed in
Right.
2 years. So
Right.
we've got to do something with a 200 census on an average. I'm over about 4%, but, you got to relate that to how many beds we're filling in a nursing home.
That's a false statement, Doug. We've had as many as 232 there.
Mr. Camiso?
You had them,
yes,
but you
yeah.
don't now. You've only got 200 now, around 200. That's the
It doesn't say
problem.
that we can't go back to 230 or 240 or 250.
We can't go
Chairman.
back, but we're not there yet until the building is built.
Just to,
The building's gonna be built in a short time, it's moving pretty good, Doug.
just remind people when.
And we're not gonna have it in the budget to do it.
Mr. Camiso, please.
When Mr. Slacky came to the hearing, he talked about the best-case scenario that he can envision for 2019, and that was tops a census of 225. So,
Top.
225, you're
tops.
talking
The
200.
best-case scenario.
No,
Tom.
we budgeted based on 225, up to
200.
225.
Come on,
So,
realistic.
So do we have a motion on the union settlement? Pass that? Okay. So now we're on this. So is unanimous? Unanimous on the union settlement portion, the first part? Yes, Mr. Ward.
If these are positions that we haven't filled in 2 years, it's hard to argue,
That's not so.
okay?
It was
Not 2 years.
It was budgeted with $0 or $1 next to these positions.
Okay.
It was actually
But
15 in 2017.
I'm gonna end up in the same place where you are, but I'm suggesting that if for 2 years, we funded 40 positions that we had to take tax dollars from Albany County resident, or,
There was $0 or $1 against those
Okay.
positions last year. And Ray,
So-
you have something you might want to add on that?
okay,
No, I was just saying it was 50 positions in 2017
Okay.
that were vacant?
that were vacant or left
Okay.
unfilled.
It was.
So, I don't think there's anybody in this room that should the census go to 215 and the nursing home director come in and project that we're going to 235 or 240, who would say we would not make a midterm, correction to add those positions back in. I know I would, but
We're only talking the census above 225.
Well-
There's plenty of room to get up to 225. We're not
I
touching-
think we still have to have an open mind if there are issues raised about this number, whether it's 225 or et cetera. And by putting this out there, that dialogue can continue.
We cannot meet our certificate of need, if need be.
Well,
Our
we can't allow that to
certificate
happen.
of need is for 250.
Yeah.
And Larry said we will get to 250 when the construction is done.
Gotta get there.
People will want to be there and we'll be hiring up.
Well, I hope we can get there.
Full staffing. And all these positions they're not going to have to be created. They're already there and ready to go. So motion on the second part.
I have my hand
Oh,
up.
Ms. Willingham, yes.
So now, I heard the certificate of need brought up. So is it my understanding that does the certificate of need require that we have staff for the 250 positions that the certificate of need requires?
No, because we don't now.
If you're saying no, that we're not supposed to have 250?
If you have a
allocated,
census of 250, then you have to have staff for 250. So we have a census of 200, which has been running about that for the last 2 years. And
But
our
it is-
certificate of need has not changed.
But it is also my understanding from the actual support staff that is working out there, that they are overworked and there are not enough people.
Yes, which is why, but the
Which is-
funding is there for those positions, and that's what we were trying to get Larry, how we could help make sure that he can hire people. We had that conversation,
And
right?
the
You were sitting right next to
And
me.
part of the conversation was, the problem that they were having is that these people are not being paid enough, and that he's trying to get the salaries brought up to where Albany County, the residential facility, can compete with the other nursing homes that hire these particular positions.
Correct, and we
Okay.
raised the salaries at the nursing home a number of years ago. We created the new positions. We just approved a union settlement. We have collective bargaining agreements out there that we have to respect and honor, and we've concurred with everything. So we asked what we can do to help, all right, and
But
Larry.
the union settlement was not based upon CNAs. It was based upon, as far as I can see, supervising nurses and so forth and so on, but not these positions. It is not the CNAs, and that's where the issue lies. And if the staff that's out there now is saying that they need more help, what is the problem?
But that's
I can't
different
believe-
than what we're talking about, people who aren't even there, right? So, for positions that the census doesn't justify paying for right now.
So you're saying that we shouldn't hire anyone else in those positions? I have not heard him say that.
So can I just,
I have not, he never said that.
I
Mr.
believe,
Slatsky never said that we should not be hiring people in those positions. And if that's what you're basing this on,
Mr.
that's
Higgins.
incorrect.
I just have a simple question then. If these positions were on the budget last year and he needed them, why didn't he and the executive fund them? And ask us to, you know, in mid-year to fund them and put people in these positions, and that didn't happen.
So now he's asking for it, and because he didn't ask for it last year, we shouldn't give it to him? I'm
But
just
he-
asking,
he-
based on what you just said.
He didn't ask for it.
Did,
He didn't ask, it's not in there? He doesn't want it funded this year, that's what you're saying? He doesn't want these positions funded?
Yeah, I think that's the way I understand it.
Did you read the letter?
Yeah.
yeah, he wants to.
I'm really confused then, because that's not my
Motion
understanding.
for the second part of
You gotta go back and talk to the
nursing home.
Something's not.
Motion for second part, nursing, Mr.
Motion.
Mendick, motion, second. Mr. Higgins, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ms. Willingham,
I'm opposed to it, Mr.
Clay,
Chairman. I know there's a motion on the floor, but there's too much confusion around these positions. I, for one, would like a better explanation. And he said, they said, the union said, Larry said, I'm just not, I'm not satisfied with where we are.
okay.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna suggest, I mean, I think there's confusion between vacancies that they're not filling, that we choose not to fill in this budget, versus those that Mr. Slacky is trying to fill. So,
That's.
Mr. Slacky can resolve that this
We
week.
identified the issue of the current
Right.
census having a problem filling the jobs that are already funded.
There's two different debates here,
Going up
right?
to
Yeah.
225,
But-
and we asked, is there a way we can help make sure that the staff out there gets the resources and help they need, so.
Yeah, as part of your clarification, and I don't know if this, I don't mean to prolong this discussion here because we had a vote, but I think this is a concern. you know, Larry talked about having programs with various nursing schools, et cetera, where there were graduating classes coming through. I'd like to believe that in taking these people out, we didn't take out every vacancy at the nursing home. So that, well, we didn't. So there are other vacancies that if operationally Mr. Slatsky could get 3 RNs and 6 nursing assistants, or whatever the number is that he's currently recruiting, he will have the ability to place them on January 1?
So I believe at the hearing, he talked about, at that moment, 83 vacancies.
So- This is 42 of 83. So there is still an additional 40 vacancies.
Still 41 vacancies.
Okay,
Only
so
one
it's-
vacancy
All right, and I think that comes as a relief to folks here. So we're not cutting the nursing home to the bone.
Charlie,
Yeah,
can we
Mr.
put the
Commissioner?
funds in contingency?
No.
Why
No,
not?
because then you're collecting them from the taxpayers and we don't need the money.
You say we don't need the money.
Correct.
The workers
Yeah,
out
Based on the
there,
analysis,
the workers, the staff being overworked,
yeah, and we.
We're not
asked Mr.
listening to them,
Slacky-
Charlie.
No, we asked Mr. Slack, we just explained that there's 80-some positions out there that are vacant.
We just-
One relates to the census.
and he just read a letter.
Mental health, I have a motion.
Mr. Chairman?
You didn't
Mr. Higgins.
vote on that.
Yes, Brandon,
Sorry, on the previous vote,
yeah.
you would have vote for the second half of
The
the cuts for the nursing home. There were 2 opposed. Will you please announce the result of that vote?
I did. I said Ms. Willingham and Mr. Clay. And then Mr. Clay made a statement about, he knows we just voted.
Yeah.
He's concerned about.
Thank you.
Yes, and we want to make sure that we get it cleared up. Now we're on mental health. We have a motion. Mr. Higgins, second. Mr. Grimm, all those in favor, passing without change. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous.
What page are we on, Charlie?
7.
Seven. It's front and back, it's pain in the neck. All this efficiency is tough. I can't find page 7. Because it's not on the back of 6. Or no, it is. Okay, so I made my first mistake today.
I gave you my own house in roughly prayer vision.
Whoever spun all those people up with this information is going to shame themselves.
Crime victims, motion to pass without change from the county executive's proposal. Mr. Grimm, second. Mr. Higgins, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Aging.
We're on 7. Wait till one gets it, please.
Right below Chris.
Okay, good.
So, we have one change here for a legislative adjustment, which has to do with transportation program for seniors. We're increasing by $7,700. Do I have a motion?
Dirt, all those people should be.
Willingham, second by Mr. Higgins. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Veterans Bureau passed without change. Recommended motion. Mr. Grimm, second. Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Human Resources passed without change. Equity Agenda Coordinator fully funded. Motion, Mr. Clay, what's that? Did you raise your hand? Okay, no? Yes?
It's
Mr. Clay,
in
second by
there
Mr.
fully
Grimm.
funded.
All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Children, Youth, and Families passed without change from the county executive. All those in favor?
Aye.
Did we get a motion?
Motion, sorry, Mr. Willingham, motion, second, Mr. Grimm, all the, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No opposed? Unanimous. Okay, we have a correction to make on the sheet. We just approved human resources, but apparently we also need to approve civil service. separately.
Without change.
Without change, likewise.
Motion to move civil service without change.
Second.
Okay, got that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. So both human resources and civil service departments have been passed without change unanimously. We did children and families, so now we're down to water purification. So I have a motion. Mr. Higgins, second, Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. I have a motion to pass Public Works without change. Higgins,
Second.
Ms. Willingham, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. General Services, do I have a motion to pass without change? Mr. Higgins, second Mr. Clay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, now we're going to move over to page 8, which is the Board of Elections at the top. Let me know if anybody's not there yet. Do I have a motion to pass Board of Elections without change? Mr. Bendick.
Motion?
Mr. Grimm, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Higgins?
I'm opposed.
Okay, we have one opposed. On to the Planning Department, pass without change. Do I have a motion? Ms. Willingham, second Mr. Seconding that, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Coroners, pass without change. Mr. Higgins? Mr. Clay, seconding. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Recreation, motion to pass without change. Mr. Bergdorf, second by Mr. Ms. No seconds?
Second.
Willingham, okay. Motion is on the floor. Vote, who's in favor?
Aye.
Who's opposed? Mr. Higgins is opposed. We have one in the negative, Mr. Higgins.
For recreation?
For recreation, correct. The Cornell Cooperative Extension, motion to pass without change.
Motion.
Mr. Higgins,
Second.
second by Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Motion for Civic Center to pass without change, Mr. Higgins. Seconded by Mr. Mendick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Soil and Water Conservation, this is a request from the department. It's for an increase in spending offset by an equal amount of decrease in spending. So it's a net neutral. Notice that they're using hospital and medical insurance. Do I have a motion, Mr. Higgins? Second by Mr. Joy, Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr.
Just on the soil and water, is that a personnel line item or?
It was a departmental request. What was
Yeah,
it?
I think they just made a computational
okay.
error. Sean can, Sean's here can.
Yes, it was a computational error for their.
Okay, no problem.
All set?
The, can I backtrack one
Yep,
more?
yep.
Coroners.
Coroners.
I've been reading a lot about coroners, how we're gonna have to spend a little bit more to Albany Med. Has that been taken into account?
It's the departmental request. That was what they
That may have happened, I just wanted to alert the committee.
We don't want to talk about medical examiner being less expensive.
It is not less expensive, but however, we have to,
Mr. Vick.
we should look into that though.
You're right.
Yeah, somebody stopped doing autopsies.
For the autopsies, we're
The
gonna.
price went up.
It keeps going up by not having.
It might be
Getting
substantial.
closer and closer to having a medical examiner.
I don't think a medical examiner is gonna matter, it's where they bring the bodies.
Oh, may I have order, please? Mrs. McKnight?
Yes, I just
You have a question?
go way back to the top, and I heard
Board
the
of
Board of
Elections?
Elections moving
Yep.
to my neighborhood, the south end of Albany, and I didn't hear anybody that time
It
project
was not
talking
in,
about.
it was not in the budget.
Well, why wasn't it in the budget?
The county executive didn't submit it.
Oh,
I voted it down for the record.
well, okay.
You voted,
Uh,
what
I
now?
voted their budget because I
Okay.
opposed their budget.
Do I have a motion to, on the legislature, down at the bottom of the page, do I have a motion to approve with the changes? Mr. Grimm, questions?
Where are we?
We're on legislature, the bottom of the page, 8, going over to page 9.
The director member services, is that the person who transferred from the majority to the chair? Is that a new position?
It's just the way we
It's a new position
effectuated,
in a different spot?
just the way we effectuated the change.
So was the policy analyst title?
Yes, and we've changed the title,
With the raise.
the duties with the
$5,000 raise.
increased compensation. Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Higgins?
Just, can you walk me through
set.
what the raises are in this department and what the percentages subsequent to the salaries?
Well, you can see what the increases are listed, I don't know what the.
Do we have a percentage break? I mean, these are above the contractual raises we're giving to the regular county employees, correct?
That's what I
I
understand.
think actually, Mr. Chairman, are these, actually, 2% was in there, submitted by the county executive, so this is an increase on top of the 2%.
Over the budget.
Yeah.
This is a swap, right here. This is this one, right?
That's right, with the raise.
And, let's see,
This is what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be Amanda.
Okay, so a little more explanation here. This is net neutral, except
All of it?
except for the last two items, miscellaneous equipment, which is the term that's used for the setting up the office. And also the temporary help or graduate assistance for the majority office and for the chair's office.
Are we on page 9 now?
The bottom.
8 and 9,
The last two items are miscellaneous equipment.
How is that net neutral, Charlie?
Except for the 18,000, because they fund it with, again, hospital and medical,
We
$49,533,
decreased,
bottom line.
we decreased hospital medical to pay for the raises.
Correct.
What's the justification for the decrease in insurance?
We had it was available based on the staffing configuration.
Okay.
As you know, that was one of the things that I mentioned, that
So the temporary,
source of, maybe we look at closer in the future when we have
so this, the
a lot on
temporary,
our plate for next year.
can I just ask
Yes,
this?
Ms. Willingham.
The temporary help is for the legislature, period, for whoever uses it, I just.
It's for graduate interns from Rockefeller College, still to be determined. So, as opposed to undergraduate, this would be graduate students who would, the university pays their tuition, and then we pay a stipend. So, that's, remains to be. So, any other questions on the legislature before we move to?
Yeah, just, Mr. Chairman, these are raises on top of the 2%, so I'm opposed to these. I don't think these are really warranted.
So that would include the minority ones as well.
There is no raises for minority members.
$5,000 increase for a policy analyst, and then a decrease for a policy analyst. So that $3,000, there's a $3,000.
I wish I worked here.
No, that's a transfer. You have a decrease.
Oh, and then then there's legislative council part-time minority is a raise of $3,828. And there's miscellaneous expense of $3,000 for the minority. Okay. Do you want to vote, so are you going to vote against the entire legislative one anyway, but not, or do you just want to vote against individual items?
The block, I'm
You're
against the
voting-
block.
Do I have a motion to approve the legislature's budget?
Motion.
Ms. Willingham, second by, not Mr. Grimm apparently. Mr. Joyce. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Mr. Grimm and Mr. Mendick? Okay.
I'm gonna abstain from this.
And Mr. Higgins is abstaining.
Pending more information.
Okay. You got that? All set? Got it recorded?
You're talking to me?
Yeah, yeah. Just-
That's correct, I have it
Okay, thank you.
recorded.
Okay. Contingent account, miscellaneous contractual expense is a legislative adjustment of increasing it by $200,000. The county executive set up $250,000. This year, we're operating at $750,000. So this would be a decrease in 2019 from what we had in 2018. It sounds like from discussions, this number might even go up more later on. So motion from a member of the committee, Mr. Higgins, seconded by Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Now, the revenue, the first one we talked about had money for the detainee attorney that was funded in this increase here.
Page 2.
Right. That $1,130,000 includes $170,000 to pay, that's the revenue to offset the position that the sheriff asked for the contractual. The balance of this is about $941,000, which is the sheriff's contribution to the levy reduction based on his running a detainee,
That's exciting.
Revenue generated.
detainee windfall, we will say, of
Yeah.
about $900,000 a month. And since the county executive proposed his budget, we reconfirmed with the sheriff that he's doing as well as they thought under the county executive's budget, but he's also doing even better than that and is going to continue to be doing better than that. We don't know how long it's going to last.
So the $170,000 is in the,
It's within that increase of revenue, yes, correct. So, do I have a motion on that first item of revenue, jail facilities, other governments, Mr. Higgins, seconded by Ms. Willingham, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. So this repayment of the safety net assistance is coupled, I believe, with, you want to explain these next two, and the next two items as well? Safety net?
So the next three are all related to the safety net re-estimates that we talked about before. When we reduce our spending, since we don't pay for it 100% ourselves, we get some state aid, we forego, that reduces the state aid, that's why it's a decrease in revenue, but it is the accompanying entries to the safety net re-estimates.
Similar to sales tax.
It's a state savings. Do I have a motion? Mr. Higgins, second by Mr. Clay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those three items, okay?
All right.
No, any negatives?
you know what?
Unanimous.
I
Yes, Ms. Williams.
I don't understand what you're doing with the safety net, so, but you said this is state money? That's
This is money that they would, that we don't, yeah, this is
We don't get
their
from the
share, which we would be foregoing by doing a different estimate.
So we're giving this back, we're not taking this from the state, we're not taking, how much from the state?
When we spend less,
How much are we not taking?
The total of the three.
How much?
Mr. Ward, what did you say the percentage was? You know what it was?
About 800,000, 71%.
71%, right, so
Yes.
it's the difference between
Yeah,
So it's 29%.
790,000.
9%.
So we're,
790,000.
so we're turning back 790,000?
No, we're never getting
We're
it.
not,
about
we're not
800,
going
yeah.
to take 790,000.
it just never
But we
shows up.
don't have to spend a couple of million, because you have to spend the 71% to get the 29% back.
So no change in the formula, it's just we're working from a different base.
Well, since, let me just, I just want to make sure I'm straight on this. I didn't vote in favor of the formula on the first go-round, so I'm voting against this. Just to stay consistent, okay?
Belt and suspenders.
So you have Ms. Willingham in the negative on
Yeah.
1840, 3640, and 4640. Now, the next item is the sales and use tax, and that's a reestimate. Also, do I have a motion? Mr. Higgins, second by Mr. Joyce. Will you- all those in favor?
Yeah, but you have a question.
Yes.
Mr. Dawson, this is pretty similar to my question on safety net. Last night, we were looking at about 800,000, and that rose overnight to almost 1.4 million.
Correct.
Is there
Again, like I said,
justification for
we're
that?
based on getting additional new information, we're willing to entertain it and make adjustments. In this case, we had an adjustment for more sales tax. Did you read the memo, the email I sent out?
Yes, I
Okay.
did.
So, do you have a question on that?
No, I thought, and I appreciate the fact you got it out
So
quickly, but
we're using the state, instead of our analysis, we're just going straight with the state controller's analysis. 3% over the final for 2018, which is a number we can't precisely pinpoint yet because the year hasn't ended. So what we do, like county executive, is use the fourth quarter of 2017, which is an actual number. The fourth quarter always being the best quarter, the largest quarter. We're running a surplus over what we budgeted right now of about $2.7 million, as I understand it. And we have this fourth quarter, which is our best quarter on sales, the holiday shopping, everything else. So it's gonna be north of $4 million. And then we're applying the controller's 3% on top of that. So this is one half of 1%. They have 1/2 of 1% above what the county executive proposed. And we'll share, as we mentioned, one of the first things we did was sharing out with the municipalities as well.
Okay, I just want to echo my concerns. You know, this is a big ticket item that we can get burned on if we overestimate. And, I definitely respect the job that you've done on the research, and I just hope you're correct in your assumptions. Thank you.
Motion, Doug, we have a
On the
motion
jail,
floor.
we have a tremendous influx of revenue from the immigration detainees withheld. And it's approximately $941,000 per month. So,
But don't forget, there's overtime associated with that.
I know, we have to cut out the cost of the sheriff's department out of that, but there's gonna be a big surplus.
Yes,
I'm concerned about the surplus.
yes, and the sheriff is, so far, is sharing 1% of a tax levy, $941,000, one month's worth.
1 month.
So we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor of the sales and use tax?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. And then we have the last one. We have management and budget to do. I have to do off-track. We have. Oh, I have to go back to management and budget. We're gonna do off-track budgeting. And this is I thought this was a request from the department. No, this is a recalculation of the way the distribution of
Nobody's putting on horses, we're doing this.
Correct.
You're staying on easy
State-
right now.
State passed
Yeah,
a law
track.
changing the way the quarterly distribution is paid to the county, and it allows them to take advantage of the seasonality that they have. Our best estimate is this will cost the county $60,000, but it helps them remain a going concern, preserve about 100 and some jobs, lots of locations around the county. That's the way we understand it.
Do I have a motion? Mr. Bergdorf, second, Mr. Mendick, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. So we go back to the management budget, which is, thank you for reminding me, is the other piece of the sales tax. This is a portion that would go to the municipality. Mr. Higgins?
Just so I'm clear, the city of Albany, where I reside and represent, could see more money under this change.
Correct.
Motion?
Mr. Mendick?
Motion.
Second, Mr. Higgins? Mr. Higgins, are you seconding that?
Yes.
Are you saying
Sales
out of
tax
the
adjustment.
1.3, the increase to?
That's the county.
Municipalities. Municipalities, the city of Albany, Waterville, Green Island.
Colony.
Colony.
More Green Island.
Some villages.
As always.
We need more.
We changed the formula to exclude Green Island.
Got the cheapest electrical rate.
Well, only the town can take it, not the village.
Right.
Or, whatever you are. Yes.
So just before we adjourn here, correct me if I'm wrong.
We've got everything.
Did you vote on
Vote
that?
on that?
No, you haven't yet.
Did you vote on that, Charlie?
Everybody on the municipalities, we had a question, so good, thank you. Make sure we vote, all those in favor? Opposed?
Oh, back to the.
Sales tax.
We were waiting because you had a question, so are you,
Measurement question.
you're on affirmative?
Page 2, yeah.
No, it's
Unanimous?
unanimous,
Unanimous.
okay? Do we have anything else that we need to do? Mr. Higgins has a question?
Just so I'm clear here, basically, we have $6.507 million in decreases with $2.138 million in increases for a difference of $4.369 million to the tax levy.
At this point, yes.
At this point,
Right.
prior to the public hearing,
Correct. So.
What is it, 4 point?
369, give or take.
It amounts to about, it amounts currently to about a 5% levy, about a 5% property tax cut. So we have, and I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, we have more utilities coming. Ray has been very helpful with us on. It's approximately $420,000. And that's another thing that we propose to look at much closer next year, Sean.
Yeah.
And something, and Are there any other questions?
Yeah, can I just say, Mr. Chairman, thank you. You know, we're cutting taxes, we're also doing a $70 million renovation of the nursing home.
80.
Or 80, no, it's 80. But that's without any county money, it's all going to be reimbursed by the state. We're also renovating the Time Keeping Center, so there's a number of things that hope this is no. Yeah, well, I understand. So we're cutting taxes, and at the same time, we're now making improvements for the county.
Mr. Higgins?
I just want to say thank you to the chairman and staff for all the hard work they put into it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Ward?
I want to echo Mr. Higgins' comments, and I appreciate the hard work that all of you have done, and the staff especially. But please be careful with your comments. We have had a lot of professional people work on these budgets over the last 50 years, including the last 25 that I've been around, and a lot of professional legislators that know budgets. And please do not put them down. They've done a hell of a job over the years, as you have. That's my personal opinion.
I was talking about staff, but yeah.
Well, you mentioned,
Count me on the second one.
we have had professional staff for many,
Not
many years.
budget experts.
Well, I disagree with that.
Okay.
I disagree with that. I'm not looking to make an argument about it, I just wanted to make sure, just be
We don't want
careful.
to offend
I
anybody.
don't want to offend anybody.
That's
It's
right.
wrong.
Mr. Willingham.
Please. I appreciate the work that everyone has done, and from the county exec, because you wouldn't have anything to work on if you didn't have budget, okay? At the same, and I appreciate the work that's been done by the legislature, our legislature, excuse me. At the same time, I still, I have an issue in regards to the safety net. I feel very strongly about it, because the people that are impacted are mainly my constituents, and I'm just a little nervous about it, you know.
We will continue the conversation with you then, and if there's anything we can do to reassure you about how that calculated. I understand I heard your message as well, Mr. Ward. All right. I only can reply that there is a balancing act, as I said yesterday, between being so conservative on your spending needs or your revenue that becomes unfair to the taxpayers who are paying for that slack, basically, in our budget. And we don't.
I'm sorry, let me just add one thing. The positions at the nursing home, I'm still confused about what Mr. Slatsky said or what he didn't say. That's it.
We need to follow up on that and show you all that information because we took note of it. Any other comments, questions, motion to adjourn?
Good job.
Good job. Good night all. To be continued.